Hi Aries, welcome to your mid-October 2019 General Tarot Update. It's Verena here. I'm just blowing on my Santo, what's it called? Palo Santo. It's an alternative to sage, and it purifies the energy in the space. And so, let's see what we've got going on here. Oh, and I should say that, these time demarcations, or whatever you want to call them, they're kind of loosey-goosey because it's not meant, oh yes, exactly on October 15th or 16th. It's really just kind of an update, mid-month update. And you are having a full moon in your sign, which is happening on the 13th of October. So I'm assuming that's no matter where you live. So in any case, I say that to say this, that the heart of the matter is the Nine of Cups, which makes me think that there might be some connection. This is the card of wish fulfillment. So it's getting what you want. And for some of you, maybe even being a little bit like in your face, a little bit smug about it. Like, I told you I would do this thing, or I would accomplish this, or I'd get this. And, I can't help but think, especially since I've read this also, that there could even be like a material component to it, where you're benefiting financially. The number 9 is connected to Jupiter. I think this is a card connected to Jupiter. And, maybe even Jupiter and Pisces, that's what came into my mind. But Jupiter is the ancient ruler of Pisces, so there might be a connection that way anyhow. This is Cups energy, so ostensibly it's supposed to be with your emotions being fulfilled, but I have also read that it could extend to your finances, not just your feelings. So that's good. That's nice. And you may just feel like all's well that ends well. If you've been a little bit, frustrated about something, because we have here in the past position, almost like having to toil and do something very strenuously. And it may have felt like an uphill climb, what you had to do, and you made it. And you not only made it, you made it in style. You did something that was very, very, arduous, but in the long run, it paid off in your favor. And so I'm, just by virtue of what it could be, I'm assuming it is related to work, although I suppose for some people, it could even be a project, like maybe building a house or something like that. It was funny, I wasn't even thinking that at the beginning, but I think of this person carrying like materials around, lugging a lot of materials and having to make things happen just with their every last ounce of their strength. But you have prevailed, and it's looking up, the stars are shining on you, and everything is great on that level. And then the higher message, and this is an important one, is the Seven of Swords. I think this means keep your cards close to your vest. Pardon the pun here. Because you may feel the temptation to gloat, and actually that's what I was talking about, like that smug expression, especially Aries. If there are people around you who are what we call haters, And they might not hate your guts, but they may hate anything any successes of people around them, because they haven't succeeded themselves. So they don't want their relatives to succeed. They don't want their friends to succeed. And they are naysayers. And they, like, when somebody has good news, they're right there to squash it. Aries, I think the two signs that probably get the most accusations of bragging are Aries and Leo. And not surprisingly, I'm coming up with that myself, but that's my feeling about it. Not surprisingly, those are both fire signs. And fire signs can be guilty of self-aggrandizement, building themselves up to a huge degree because they're confident, but sometimes, and the shadow side comes out, they're boastful. They want everyone to know how great they are. And, it's not necessarily meant to be like narcissistic. Not everybody who boasts is a narcissist. Some people are insecure, but some people aren't. They're boasting because it's like a little kid who boasts. A little kid doesn't boast because they're insecure. They boast because they really are excited about what they did. And they want everyone to know it. The only reason that we are always like paranoid about boasting is because there's so many haters who are going to accuse us of being narcissists and stuff like that, because they're unhappy with their lives. So misery loves company. So the Seven of Swords can be going on your own, doing something for yourself or by yourself, maybe strategizing. And that means that could even be behind the scenes where, for instance, the Ten of Wands could be that you have been working overtime, and it could be that you're fed up with that. You feel like you're being taken advantage of, and so either you landed a new job or you started your own business and it just has been successful right out of the gate, or you're just like hugely optimistic. But I would think that something good has happened. You don't want to let everybody know this because they could try to destroy it. I remember when I was watching tarot readings, and there was this one young woman, and she was complaining how her family, I think it was coming on her channel and writing all these terrible comments. And so I don't know if she took down or hid her channel or something like that for a while, and she was explaining why she was gone and all this. And it was right around the time when I first started, and I was like saying, well, and I think I wrote to her and said, that was your first mistake, was telling people about your channel, because chances are she already knew the kind of people these people were. She might have been trying to get those strokes from achieving something, and it turned out that it just made them angrier. So you want to make sure that you protect yourself. And it's like, I've heard this analogy of the seedling. When a plant is first sprouting and it's growing, but it's so fragile, and you have to keep it covered. Sometimes they put little Dixie cups on top of the seedling to prevent it from the wind. I mean, even just a strong wind could snap it in two. So that's how you have to view yourself when you're in an early stage of some endeavor, not to allow other people to kind of trample on your dreams and not to give them the benefit of the doubt. I know that sounds cynical, but I don't care. It's the truth. It's human nature. Sometimes you have to be cynical. Forewarned is forearmed. I never can say that right, it seems like. Just understanding, because I think, I'm a Sagittarian, we're fire signs, we're puppy dogs. And we just kind of, go around gallivanting, and we think that everybody is so above board, and they're not. Some of them are really nasty pieces of work. It's the truth. And they may not be evil. They may be nasty and not evil. They may be nasty and they still love you. They still care about you. They don't want anything really bad happening to you, but they are envious of the fact that you stuck your neck out and you did something and they haven't done it. And it highlights that. Just hearing about it, bothers them because they know that they're not taking chances in their life. And so this is not to demonize people like this. All of us may have had moments of this ourselves, of crabs in the barrel, but it's something to take note of and vow to yourself, I'm not going to do this, not to shrug your shoulders and say, well, that's just how I am. No, that's not what I mean. Make sure that you are protecting yourself. What crosses you is the Five of Pentacles. This is that card of poverty consciousness. Now, I'm kind of surprised to get this for Aries, because Aries people tend to be very optimistic, almost probably foolishly optimistic. And the Nine of Cups is your general state of mind. However, speaking of mind, if you have Mercury in Cancer, you couldn't have, you might. No, you can only have it Mercury in Pisces or Mercury in Taurus. Both of these are feminine signs, and they are prone to being very, fearful in the case of Pisces, and in the case of Taurus, rigid. It's a fixed sign. Actually, I looked it up once, and the Five of Pentacles is connected to Mercury and Taurus. So remember that this is a general reading. So some of these cards, who knows, maybe they don't really resonate with your state of being. But people with Mercury and Taurus can have this idea that, I'm not going to believe something until I see it. Unlike what Dr. Wayne Dyer said, I'll see it when I believe it. And he was a Taurus. That's the funny thing about it. But he was a very expansive thinker. And so he wrote a book called I'll See It When I Believe It. Whereas most people are the opposite. They want the physical proof. And actually, if you think about it, any manifestation that we have first comes from the non-material realm, because the idea is a non-material thing, and then we bring it down into physical reality. So it would make sense that you have to believe in the visualization, that is not frivolous, to believe in whatever it is that you want on the mental plane and then bring it into the physical plane. The Five of Pentacles as poverty consciousness thinking is, there's not enough to go around, I can't do this, I don't have what it takes. And the Nine of Cups is calling you a liar. So you have the success. Maybe this is just the tip of the iceberg for you. Maybe you've gotten some money and this is what you wanted to start a certain business, but then you're afraid, well, what if I lose all of this money? Or what if nobody buys my product? Or if you're an entrepreneur or something like that. And just think of all the other people who start businesses. And it's funny, they say 95% of businesses fail in the first year or something, some crazy number like that. First of all, I find that hard to believe, but secondly, it depends on what the definition is of failure. And I think that a lot of times, because people invest too much on the front end, then when they can't earn it back right away, they think they failed, when they would have been better off starting on a shoestring and building upwards. And organically gaining traction. So that means word of mouth, especially, where people have partaken of your services, they've bought your product, they think it's amazing, and they tell other people about it. What's coming in is represented by the Judgment card. This is a card of cause and effect. If you are putting out positive vibes, you get them back. If you are doing the work that you need to do, not expecting it to all drop in your lap, but if you're consistently working on your dreams, I believe that you will realize your dreams, provided that you are doing something that is in service of humanity and not just yourself. And if you're living in integrity, I think that you can't help but succeed. And success has to be really questioned in terms of what it truly means, so that you can, if there's any feeling that you don't have success, that you understand that maybe you are, your definition of it is way too lofty, and it doesn't take into account some of the things that make a person successful. I feel like any person that has a business that turns a profit is successful, even if it's $10 and it turns a profit, because they're doing something that they want to do. And that, to me, is the goal of life, is doing what we want to do. That is in the service of others. You can do both. And when you found that out, it's a blessing. The Judgment card as advice is to act on good judgment, to have good judgment, meaning that whatever choice you make in these coming days, that you don't do things hastily like you tend to do, because you may be flush with victory of the Nine of Cups, something good fortune, I would say, and you may just throw caution to the wind and then say, why did I do that? I should have been more prudent, and I shouldn't have gotten carried away with all of the good stuff that's coming my way. The outcome, the Page of Pentacles. This is a practical message that you receive. So this could have money attached to it. Some kind of a, somebody tells you, yes, we have accepted your loan approval. The Page of Pentacles can even be a student. So perhaps for some people, they realize that they have to get some kind of training in order to properly do what they need to do to the fullest extent. But this could simply mean that you are receiving some kind of word. Maybe you've been waiting for something to come. Mercury in Taurus. Mercury, I'm talking about that Five of Pentacles. The number 5 connects with Mercury. So, therefore, that could also be, writing that 5. When I say writing, I mean with an R, writing it, like, making it upright again. Aligning yourself with something financial and receiving word that perhaps you're starting something. If this is, this could be as simple as you've gotten a job offer, or you go into for a job interview and you get the job, okay? Because the Nine of Cups can simply mean that whatever you touch is golden, and that you're in this great phase. But it's especially a wish that you have wanted. So maybe if you're like, oh, I wish I could work at this company, and you get the word that you're going to work there, but maybe it's delayed, and maybe that's what the Five of Pentacles means, is that something is delayed, and then you start to freak out again. And then you are able to hear the good news that you have gotten this job. The Page of Pentacles, if it is a message, it's going to be of a practical nature. And if there's any people out here for whom love is really your top focus. This could mean a new relationship with somebody who is of the earth element. Of all the earth signs, Capricorn is the one that I see the average Aries person with, because you're both cardinal signs and you're both movers and shakers in that sense, where you have a tendency to be quite active and involved in life. And therefore, it pays off, if you will, in terms of getting things done. And you can really see this kindred spirit. But it is, speaking specifically of Capricorn, it does form a square to your sun. And so, while there may be similarities, there may be clashes. And because you're both cardinal signs, there may be power clashes, where each one wants to rule the other. But something with earth energy coming to new beginnings with. Okay, that's what I have for you, Aries. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you'd like a personal reading, the link is below. Have a great start, I guess we would say, to October. Or, well, this reading is intended for the middle of the month. But this is why I say this, because I'm recording this in the first week of the month. To me, anytime that you see a reading on YouTube that really resonates with you, you don't have to pay attention to the timing, because maybe that message was specifically for you. And time doesn't exist anyway, so there you go. But anyway, I hope you have a great day. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye.